All right. Next thing is repeal the charter and reinstate the former charter, creating again a council manager form of government with an elected mayor who is a member of the council, and reducing the number of council members to 5 districts. Councilwoman Myers.
Okay, I put that on there because basically I'd had a conversation with some people who wanted to ask me to. I don't agree with the 5 districts, however. I would agree with the 7-member council. Going back basically to the old form of government, with the exception of not having the 2 at-large members. And the reason I'm opposed to at-large is because I think that it, again, generally dilutes the power of the African-American vote, because it would be very difficult, in my opinion, for African Americans to win an at-large race. So that was why I was against having at-large. But I think that you know that this is a pretty drastic action to take. But I think it's one that would pass if it were put to a referendum. I think people are fed up with the form of government we have. They feel that it's dysfunctional. And so basically that's what I would like to see. But in order to accomplish that, at the end of this meeting, I'm going to suggest that we set up establish a charter review commission and have input from the public regarding the form of government people want.
I just want to clarify something on at-large seats. There are 2 types of at-large seats. There's at-large without district residency, and there are at-large with district residency. Santa Rosa County, not a good comparison to Escambia County in the population, but they have at-large with district residency. The advantage I see, although there are obvious disadvantages, is that they get to vote for all 5 of their commissioners, and they have to live in a certain district. If you had a system like that, where you had at-large with district residency, you'd still have to live in that district, but you would be subject, everyone would get to vote on every member of the council. That's Councilwoman Myers.
Well, that sounds idealistic in a way, but with my district, for instance, I have huge differences in income from very wealthy to very poor. So if you had, in my district, I would imagine it would have to be a fairly well-off person to run for an at-large seat, even though they might live in District 2. So I can see that I'm for empowering people who generally do not have access to the seats of power through money, influence, and contacts. So I would not be in favor of even at-large seats with, a residency requirement.
Okay.
I don't think that would.
I was just trying to point out the difference between the 2. I'm not advocating on either one right now. I'm just pointing that out. Councilwoman Canaway.
I was not a supporter of the charter, but I think my role as a council member is to help to make it work. And so normally my suggestions are always focused on how do we make the system work according to what the citizens asked for and voted for. One thing about having a mayor and the first mayor is experience, the ability to collaborate with both the council and all of the functions that go along with it. And so that leadership, to me, in judging whether or not the charter is effective, is based on the leadership that has been there, because leadership with experience in government and that collaboration, we would probably have a different outcome. because many of the issues and concerns that we have listed here is based on how that leadership viewed the relationship with departments and the council, how that leadership would view it. And so that power of having the full council and the mayor, I think it's hard to judge the effectiveness of it based on one person being in that office. Okay, because that's what it is. It's one person, because the office itself will be evolved into an office based on the people that gets in it, the leaders and the type of leader and that relationship that that leader has with the council, with the public, and all of us. And I say that when we talk about repealing the charter, is that for me it would be hard to repeal the charter when we have only had one type of leadership in that position, only one type. And so with the election process, maybe in the next 2 years, then you will be able to have a different type. Because if the people are really, really fed up, then on the new time when we have an election, then they would see that that office is molded by the people that it is elected, and different outcomes could happen and different relationships built based on that leadership. Thank you.
Councilman Tahar.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Councilwoman Wingate. I'm sorry, Canada Wynn. We're 6 years into this. I don't think that you can judge something that quickly, especially what it was in place for. What was the previous charter was in place for how long? 70 years or 80 years or something like that. Yeah. So I mean, we can't switch from one form of government and not expect some issues. And I agree there are some issues out there. There's some that aren't as, I think, glaring as others. But we've had one mayor, and I think you can only judge something after an extended period of time. You can't do a pharmaceutical survey over a short period of time and go, oh, this is effective. You have to go for a decade at least. I mean, 10 years is the minimum I think you have to go in order to figure out, how this is going to work. And so I'm not at all in favor of trying to go back to that other form of government until we really see how this one can work.
Okay. Councilman Wingate.
One of the things that I see as I go back and look at our agendas, if you look back a year, we've accomplished a lot of things for the benefit of the people of the city of Pensacola. It's only the conflicts between us and the mayor that seems to get all of the publicity. And I don't have the experience of how it was in the old days compared to what it is now, but I think that we're getting a lot of good results for the city of Pensacola.
Okay. Vice President Spencer.
Thank you. I want to thank fellow council member Jewel Canada Wynn, who shared with all of us her frank admission that she did not support this change of government. And I remember, and Ms. Wynn knows definitely, as she rightfully could speak with a voice of experience serving on the other form of government. And I think that her words have a depth of experience combined with wisdom that hold tremendous value. And as she has said to us, and you, fellow council member Wingate, there have been some great strides. Yes, there have been obstacles. There are conflicts that are unresolved right now tonight as we sit here. But I recall all of the effort that preceded that vote that the public weighed in on. And one of the important facts that the citizens became aware of was basically the economic decline of the city of Pensacola. We had been experiencing years of declining population, and with the declining population comes very difficult economic related decisions that impact infrastructure, improving infrastructure, maintaining it, and the citizens recognized that while other cities around us and other areas were growing, we had to make a change. They were willing to make that change, and it is a change that I think has. We have seen some of the fruits of that change in government. Yes, we have again experienced turbulence, and that's going to occur with every municipality, every form of government. But I see a net gain thus far, and I certainly hope that my colleagues will give this form of government its fair chance to prove that Pensacola can prosper as opposed to what direction it was going. Thank you very much.
I noticed that you looked at me when you said turbulence, so
Sorry about that.
it's all right. Other comments? Councilwoman Myers.
Well, when I read the press, I mean, it doesn't sound like to me that it's the turbulence is up on the 7th floor with the fire chiefs and the fish house issue and one thing after another, and every year there's a change in city administration, and it goes on and on. And the citizens are asking me, that they don't support, they don't understand why the council can't do something about all of these issues. And so I think that this charter needs to be at least tweaked. One of the things that I think brings me, I'll discuss it on the next item, but I think that there needs to be more accountability. You brought up, appointing the city administrator or approving the appointment of the city administrator. You brought up resolutions. So I think that there's things that need to be done in order to create the proper balance of power here. But I do think that if this were put up for a vote of the citizens, they would support to return to a manager-council form of government.
Okay.
This city did great things under a manager-council form of government, too.
It wouldn't happen.
Councilman Wu.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And again, my statements today is no reflection on the Charter Review Committee because they worked long and hard. All I'm saying is that do you want people to have a vote or not? I mean, if they like it, fine. But are we saying that the people can't vote? Or they shouldn't vote? That we determined that everything's fine and therefore they don't get to speak up about their government? The only reason that I support it is I believe the people should have a say. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Wu. Okay. Anyone from the public want to speak on this item, repealing the charter and reinstating the former charter? No? Okay.